Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we coming to you, we are always starting off this broadcast with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
Let them know it, folks. The United States Army Barbershop Quartet coming to us from the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and we appreciate that. These men and women of the United States Armed Forces deserve our respect and our honor. We appreciate what they do to help protect our country and to help protect the rest of the world. I want to put out that right now. I believe this. I truly feel it within my soul. These men and women deserve our love and honor. Our love also should go out to our allied men and women that are allies of the United States who support their country in their militaries and that are supporting us as well. God bless you all, and may you all come back to your families after your tours of duty end. God bless you, and thank you for your service. Folks, we are at the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Just to start off here, I am now 2 hours later than normal at least. I was at a ham radio class to renew my ham radio license. They have to be renewed every 10 years, and I have to take a test this time. And this time, I will pass it again. So anyway, that's what I did. There are a whole bunch new rules and regulations that are in front of us. That's why I took the class. I wanted to make sure I had everything down. And I will be taking the test a week from this Saturday. Anyway, guys, welcome home to the Emergency Management Associates channel tonight. As you saw in the title, we're going to be talking about volcanoes. We had Cotopaxi volcano that we talked about last night. It erupted again up to 22,000 feet. 22,000 feet. And over in Kamchatka Peninsula, over in Russia. Remember that peninsula that is over on the western end of the Aleutian Island Fault that we've been talking about? Kamchatka Peninsula, the Shebelush volcano erupted again. This time 55,000 feet high. Okay? Big deal. Really big deal. Now, someone had said that they expected it to have expected the ashfall from that volcano to go out over to Washington and Oregon. I highly doubt that is possible. The only way that could be possible is that ashfall going up into the stratosphere, which it is, and being caught by the jet stream and then drug on the jet stream all the way from Kamchatka Peninsula over the Pacific Ocean and dump in the form of rain and ash hitting Washington and Oregon. I doubt that's going to happen. Okay, the last times that Shebelush volcano has erupted, it's gone over the Pacific Ocean through the Aleutian Islands over into Alaska and into northern Canada. That's the way it has gone. I will keep an eye on this. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. The winds are dragging the ash about 35 knots per hour. 35 knots per hour. That's not a heavy wind speed. If it gets up into the jet stream, now we're talking hundreds of miles an hour. So we will see what happens with Shebelush volcano and the ash from that. The other volcanoes are further south from the United States, meaning that ashfall will probably dump over in Central America, over into the Caribbean, and I'm talking over towards Jamaica. I'm talking about Cuba. I'm talking about the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and over in the U.S. and U.S. and Britain's, boy, I can't even talk. U.S. and the British Virgin Islands. Okay, that's the way that ash will go. All the other ash from either Sulawesi, Ejima, Japan, just in the south end of Japan, all that ash is going to go across the Pacific towards South America. The erupting volcanoes in South America. Excuse me, my allergies are bugging me tonight. I'm sorry again. The volcanoes erupting in South America. Okay, let's talk about that. We have Nevado del Ruiz in Colombia. All that ashfall is going to go across northern South America through Venezuela, out over the Atlantic and over to Africa. Okay, that's how that will happen if it goes that far. Okay, then we have Ecuador. We have 3 volcanoes going over there. 3 volcanoes that we talked about last night: Sangay, Reventador, and Cotopaxi. Those 3 volcanoes are all erupting up to 22,000 feet, 14,000 to 22,000 feet. All that ash, if there's any ash, is going to go all the way through South America, literally. Okay, we're talking Brazil mostly, then out over the Atlantic. Okay, then it's going to go into Africa. Okay, so that's what we're expecting. Then Sabancaya. Sabancaya is in southern Peru. Any ash from Sabancaya will go across Bolivia, maybe parts of Argentina, go across all the way across the continent of South America, across the Atlantic Ocean, and over to Africa again. Okay, that's what's happening. We're going to keep a close eye on it. The volcanoes over in Indonesia, there are quite a few of them. Okay, we told you the other night about Semeru over in East Java. Okay, that volcano there is continuing to spread ash all the way from southern Indonesia over Papua New Guinea area and probably over into the Solomon Islands, the Vanuatu area, Fiji, and Tonga. If it gets to South America, which I doubt, because this time of year they have rains. Okay, this is winter time down there. The rains in the Pacific Ocean down there are very hard. It will wash out that ash from the air, and the ash will go into the Pacific Ocean. Okay, we have Dukono, Semeru. We have also another volcano, Krakatau. It's not erupting that big, but it's still erupting. Okay, then we can even go over to Italy, the southern Italy, Sicily area. What do we have there? We have Mount Etna and we have Stromboli. All that ash will go through Italy, over across the ocean again, and this time into northern Europe. So that's what's going to happen there. I don't expect to see any major goings on with the volcanoes spreading ash to major populations, at least major population centers. Okay, that's what's happening. I wanted to just put that out to you because a lot of people were concerned. Okay, now we want to also tell you that we would like you to give us thumbs up. If you believe in this program, you appreciate the information we're giving you, please give us a thumbs up. Also, for those of you that are subscribed, please check your subscriptions often. Every other day or every few days. Check it because YouTube unsubscribes a lot of people. Right now we have over 800 subscribers. That's wonderful. Okay? Once we get up to over 1,000, that's another 200 subscribers. Once we get over 1,000, then we can add the super chat function here, where people can actually donate to help support our program here on YouTube again. That's what we had before on our other channel before it got hijacked. Okay? We're going to be able to do that as well, and a lot of other good things that could possibly be of good cheer to everybody here in the chat and to our channel. We want to give everyone here as much possibility to help us and for me to help you. And doing that, we need subscribers. And I don't want to harp on this at all. Okay? I understand it's hard to start over. I started over 4 years ago, or not started over, I began this channel 4 years ago. On the other one that I had, we had 25,000 subscribers. It took me 4 years. And it may take another 4 years to get that many again. I'm hoping to get the people that were on the channel before and bring them over here. That's what I'm hoping will happen. Okay, but we appreciate all that you do to help share this channel to people that you know. And we have about 25% of the people that are here on watching our channel that are not subscribed. So I'm asking all of you that are not subscribed to this channel to please subscribe. If we had that 25% onto what we normally have here, we would have over 1,000 subscribers, maybe even close to 1,300 subscribers. That's at least what we want to do, and then we can go on from there. The other reason I want to get this channel going up over 1,000 people, 10,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15, 20, 25, 30. The reason I want to do that, the more people we reach, the better communication we have with the world. This is a worldwide program. This is not just the United States anymore. This is a worldwide program. We have had subscribers from Scandinavia, Norway, Denmark, Finland, and Sweden. We've had people from all parts of Northern Europe, Romania, the Czech Republic. We've had people from Switzerland and Austria. We've had people from over in Romania. Okay, that's wonderful. We have people down in Australia, New Zealand. We have people in Indonesia that have watched this program, and also Japan. We have people from South and Central America, and even Mexico. We appreciate that. Please, folks, if you can think about doing it, please subscribe to our program. We can get our message further out to the public. This message is a message of preparedness. We constantly stress preparedness on this program. I want to make it very clear what we do here. This channel is all about emergency preparedness. We talk about preparedness, we tell you about earthquakes, we tell you about volcanoes, we tell you about tornadoes and hurricanes, wind, winter, flooding, fires, everything. Shootings, we even talk about that. We did yesterday because of what happened. Actually, it was Monday and Tuesday, Monday and yesterday. We talked about what happened over in Tennessee. And that situation is still ongoing. Yes, we have taken out the shooter, but the mourning continues over there in Tennessee and even Kentucky, where it happened. It's unreal. That part of the country, and even all over the the southeastern part of the country, is deeply affected. I spoke with 4 law enforcement agents today. They are deeply affected by what happened. Every law enforcement officer I know has been deeply affected because they know at any time they could be called to the scene of any kind of crime like that. And their life could also be snuffed out. They are deeply, deeply affected. A lot of families are being affected as well. Law enforcement and civilians, and even military. Everybody knows exactly what can happen. And that's one of the reasons I pay solemn respect to our military every day. And I want to tell our law enforcement throughout the world, including our firefighters and our paramedics as well. All of you lay down your life on the line every day. You take that chance once you put on that uniform that you may or may not come home again. I want to tell you, and I'm spreading the word from everybody here, we appreciate your service. We love each and every one of you. We want to help you, and that's why we're talking about this. We love you and we care about you. We support you. We are here for you. We have Army Medic here with us today. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. It means so much to us to have members of the military and former military here with us. It's a great privilege and honor to have you here. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anyway, guys, we've had a few earthquakes that have happened today. Most of them have been down in the South Pacific. And I'm talking 5.0 to 5.1 magnitude earthquakes over in Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. Large earthquakes down there. Now, there was also 5.6 as well. That's big time. That's really big time. Okay? 5.6 to 5.9 are considered to be very large earthquakes. 5.0 to 5.9 are called large earthquakes. 5.6 to 5.9, like I said, are very large earthquakes. They can be very destructive, and they can cause complete catastrophes to cities, towns, and land masses where those earthquakes hit, causing landslides, avalanches. It can cause buildings to sway and fall down. Unsupported masonry crumbles in those kinds of quakes. Houses in that area of the world, many of these houses are made of nothing but shacks, mud, adobe. They crumble when those earthquakes hit. There's loss of life when that happens. Folks, it happens. Okay? Down in the South Pacific down there are 7 different earthquake plates. 7 different tectonic plates, one subducting underneath the other just like this. One subducting under the other just like that. Just like we have up in the Pacific Northwest that we talked about yesterday. Just like that. Subducting underneath the continent. In this case down south, the reason they have that many earthquakes down there, and they've had quite a few ranging in size from small, moderate, and large earthquakes 5.0 to 5.9, and very strong earthquakes 6.0 to 6.9, and we've also had some major earthquakes 7.0 to 7.9 down in Indonesia and in the Philippines, and even over in New Zealand and over in Fiji and Tonga. Again, why does that happen? Because their plates are subducting one under the other. This is going to be a continual issue. I remember reporting on this 3 years ago over in New Zealand when there were 7.0, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6 earthquakes in the Kermadec Islands. Again, those islands are not inhabited by anything but birds. Yes, the birds get agitated, and I'm sure some birds lose their lives when trees fall or other vegetation falls and collapses their nests or breaks their eggs. I can understand that. But as for humans, there are no humans on those islands. Okay? It's occupied by birds. It's a bird sanctuary. But they had those major earthquakes, anything from 7.0 and higher. They had those 3 years ago, and those major earthquakes are continuing to some extent at least once a month down in the South Pacific. We've seen it. Those major earthquakes also occurring in northern Chile, up into Peru, and even up into Colombia. Now we have seen 7.0 earthquakes in southern Mexico. And we've seen a major earthquake at the southern border of the United States and Mexico over near Imperial Valley, California, south of the Salton Sea. We've seen it happen back in 2010. I was not on the air, but I was stationed there for a drill in San Diego where I used to live. Yes, I got called to San Diego to do a drill. And while I was there in April in 2010, guess what happened? A 7.1 earthquake hit down there at the Mexican-U.S. border. Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. Big deal. Shook buildings in Arizona, buildings and homes in Arizona. It shook buildings and caused destruction in the Imperial Valley. Over in San Diego, buildings sway and glass fell out of skyscrapers to the ground. We told people to stay inside if at all possible. The buildings stood in San Diego. There was no major destruction there. The biggest destruction was the glass falling out of the skyscrapers, and it upset some people. There was minor damage in San Diego. It could have been worse. The earthquake then was also felt up into Los Angeles. After that, almost 4 years ago, actually 3 years ago, we had a 7.1 magnitude earthquake up in Ridgecrest, California. Ridgecrest, California. My gosh. Actually, guys, let me tell you this. That was a 7.1 on July 5th. Guess what happened on July 4th? There were two 6.9 earthquakes up in Ridgecrest as well. Two 6.9s. They took one completely down, and then they decapitated the other to a 6.4. They downgraded that 6.9 to a 6.4, and they said the other 6.9 did not occur. Yes, it did. Two separate and distinct earthquakes. Two separate and distinct locations. I have those earthquakes pinpointed in my files today. USGS lied about that. There were thousands of foreshocks, literally thousands of foreshocks before those major earthquakes hit. Okay, thousands of foreshocks, and there were over 200,000 aftershocks from the Ridgecrest quakes. And guess what happened about a year and a half ago? After a 7.1 earthquake hit in southern Mexico, I said that California needed to get their eyes open and be prepared for a major earthquake in Southern California, and that's exactly what happened in Big Pine, California the very next day. A 7.1 earthquake hit there. I was thinking it might hit down in the border area between California and Mexico. I honestly thought that's where it was going to occur. It went further north past Ridgecrest into Big Pine, California. It can happen, guys. It can happen. Now, Richard Smith is in the chat today. He's talking about some earthquakes in Turkey. He's talking about a 5 and a 2.8. Folks, there are a lot more earthquakes in Turkey than that. Turkey just about 4.5 weeks ago got hit by a 9.0, 10.0 magnitude earthquake. And USGS denies it. They called it a 7.4. It was far past that. People that were on this channel with me when that happened, I showed you the paperwork. We showed you the data, showing you it was a far larger earthquake than what USGS said it was. And there are hundreds of thousands of aftershocks. There's at least 100 to 150 earthquakes that hit that area today and every day. Now there's over 100,000 earthquakes in Turkey so far. There are aftershocks of that major earthquake that hit in Turkey. And it opened up a fissure. It opened up the ground. The ground split open for 12 miles. A 12-mile long fissure split open in Turkey. It was a baseball field in width. It was an 8-story building in depth. Imagine that. An 8-story building would have fit in the bottom of that fissure. That's huge. It was far larger than what USGS said it was to be. We have proven to you that USGS cannot be trusted at all. Not now, not ever. That's why I tried to show you what exactly is going on every day, earthquake-wise. Yes, we talked about fires and floods and snow and all kinds of other disasters. But I try to show you what is going on, because what is happening may affect you and me. That's why I'm here. That's what we do best. No one else is doing what we do. They're just not doing it. And I'm not knocking anybody that's talking about earthquakes. I watch Earthmaster. I watch several other feeds. I understand what those guys are saying. But we take it a step further. we bring it home to everybody. And we tell people how to be prepared for whatever happens. Not just earthquakes, not just volcanoes, not just fires, floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes. We try to prepare you for everything that could happen. We tell you how to do it. Okay? We almost hold your hand in doing it. We want to make sure people are prepared. Dennis N. says it sounds like something in the Bible. It surely does. Okay? If anybody had been watching our Sunday programs during the last couple of years, well, 2 or 3 years that I've been doing them, we've talked about the Old Testament. Okay? Even Moses saw our day. Even Moses prophesied of what's happening today. Isaiah talked about it, and many of the other prophets throughout the Old Testament and the apostles in the New Testament. They all talked about it. Modern, old, doesn't matter. They've all spoken about our day. They've spoken about our day. We know it's happening. Anyway, let's go on here. I have a presentation about nothing else but New Madrid Fault today. Yes, I spent a lot of time talking about what we're doing and why we're doing it. Okay? I think it's absolutely necessary. Let's go and talk about the New Madrid Fault now. Okay? This, folks, this slide here is a seismogram coming from the University of Memphis, Tennessee. Okay? In this seismogram, we're showing a lot of earthquake activity. These earthquakes are at least, and I'm saying they are at least 3.0 magnitude earthquakes. Notice the tops and the bottoms of these seismic signatures. Notice that they have been cut off totally. So one cannot even say how strong these earthquakes are, but what we're seeing. On this particular earthquake, guys, this happened early this morning. Okay? It happened at 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It started happening first with some tremors, and it started building about 3 minutes after that. So it happened about 1:33 this morning with very minor tremors. Then a minute later, the tremors got bigger. Then at 5 minutes after that, 1:35 this morning, the tremors became even bigger, and a minute later we had a full-blown 2.0 magnitude earthquake, and after that a 2.5 magnitude earthquake. Then you see the major P waves, meaning the largest waves here at this earthquake. They're a preliminary wave. Okay? Largest waves here are cut off at the top and the bottom. This shows at least a 3.0, 3.2 earthquake. If we want to imagine how strong this earthquake was, look at how long it lasted. I'm looking only at the P waves. The P waves show me that it lasted at least 60 seconds, maybe a little bit more. Okay? Each individual wave here, each individual signature there, each individual line is an earthquake. Where you see the one on the left that's thicker, that is like 3 or 4 earthquakes that happened simultaneously back to back. Okay? We have probably 10 P waves here. 10 P waves. Let me extend this out just a little bit. Let's take a look real quick. We have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 P waves. 15 primary waves. 15 primary waves. That is a very large earthquake that happened in just over a minute. We had foreshocks before it, as you can see. all that seismic activity that happened before the major part of that earthquake happened. Now, this is not a major earthquake. It's not a 7.0. But I'm talking the largest P waves, primary waves. Before that, it took almost 2.5 minutes to build up from a very minor tremor to a 2.0 to a 2.5 and all the way up to at least a 3.0, 3.5. Now we're seeing the first primary waves here, the first P waves. We can see right here that they're cut off at the top and the bottom. But this earthquake was at least a 3.2, 3.3 even. It was larger than that. That's what we have to be concerned about. Then after the P waves, after the primary waves finish, then as the earthquake dissipates, we have a secondary wave. And that secondary wave lasted another minute and a half before it dissipated into a body wave. Then that body wave continues for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. 5-minute body wave, maybe even 6-minute body wave. Okay, that's a pretty big deal. That is a very, very big deal. Okay, this was not a 3.0, 3.2 earthquake. Now, before I talk about these other quakes that hit here in Marktree, Arkansas, okay, before I continue this, you need to know where Marktree is. Okay, I wish I had the map here. They will no longer let me take pictures of maps, take screenshots of maps. Okay, I'm going to have to figure something else out. This just happened today. They won't let me screenshot the maps to show you what's going on with the maps. Let's take this in part of your virtual life. Okay, let's say my right hand here. Okay, this is Jonesboro, Arkansas. South of Jonesboro, we have Marktree, Arkansas. Between Jonesboro and Marktree, we have Tyronza, Arkansas. Tyronza, Arkansas also has some pretty good sized earthquakes today. South of Marktree, we have Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas also has some pretty good sized earthquakes as well. But Marktree is what we're working on. Marktree. This is where all these earthquakes are hitting. And you can see what happened here. Now the second biggest quake here is down here, and it just happened at approximately 10, let's look here. It happened at, 10. It happened after 5:30 this morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And it actually started about, I want to say it started at about 5:15 this morning. We had preliminary minor tremors building up for a full, I'm going to say 17 or 18 minutes. Then it continued after that. Okay? It continued for another 4 minutes after that. So now we've got at least 22, 23 minutes of just minor tremors. Then after that, it starts building into minor earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes. Then it immediately jumped up to like a 2.5, 2.7. Then that dissipated a little bit, and then all of a sudden we had the primary waves again. Now on this same blue earthquake we're looking at here. Again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. Okay? This is 5:38 this morning when this primary wave hit here. Okay? These, again, the tops and the bottoms of this seismic signature are cut off. We don't know exactly how strong this earthquake was, but look at the width of the earthquake. Look at the time element that the P wave covered, the primary waves covered. Okay? We're looking at a full 2 minutes. 2 minute long earthquake. If this had been a moderate or a large quake, guess what? A 2 minute time period is a very long time. It could cause a major earthquake damage if this was a larger quake. But this was at least a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake, looking at it just right here. It was larger than the earthquake above it that happened just after 12:30 this morning. Okay? This is at 5:38 this morning. It lasted 2 full minutes. The primary wave. Then it dissipated fairly quickly over about a 2 minute period. Then we have another body wave here. The body wave, folks, lasted at least 4 minutes, and then I believe it lasted for a lot longer than that, because below it we have a green line, right? The green line would be 5:45, and look how long that green line stretches. Another 15 minutes, and it's still moving. It's still moving. So this earthquake lasted at least 18 minutes after the primary wave. You tell me how strong this earthquake was. It may have been as strong as a 4.0, maybe even a 4.5, to get that kind of body wave. This is in Marked Arkansas. Folks, this is in the center of the New Madrid Fault. The northern part of Arkansas and into Missouri, the western part of Tennessee and Kentucky, going down into Louisiana and Mississippi, that's all part of the New Madrid Fault. The center part of the New Madrid Fault is where this happened. And it's not the only earthquakes that happened. Okay? This is in Arkansas. Now, when I did the disaster drill in 2011, it was a 200-year anniversary of the New Madrid Fault going crazy in 1811, 1812. December 1811 to January, through January 1812. Big deal. Back then, we did not have the Richter scale that we have now. We don't have the momentary scale we have now, or the Mercalli scale. Back then, they didn't have that. They estimated that earthquake as a 7.1 magnitude quake. It may have been as large as an 8.0 major earthquake. A 7.0 or larger earthquake is a major quake. 7.0 to 10.0 and beyond are called major quakes. 9.0 and higher, destructive quakes, deadly quakes. This is a big deal. This is a huge deal, guys. This is a huge deal. Okay? That's why we're talking about it. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of it. Look at this below there. I wanted to show you this as well. This is a huge deal. Okay? This is 1045. On the blue line above it is 1030. Look at all the earthquake activity before or by or after 1030 on the blue line. And it continued on the green line as well. Okay? So 10:30 until, I want to say, 10:55, we had very strong earthquakes. Not 6.0s, but very strong earthquakes here. These are at least 3.0, 3.5 or larger earthquakes. Okay, look at that. This was this morning. This was this morning. Okay, so between 10:30 and 10:45, we had, it looks to be 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes, minor earthquakes. Then, after about 10:55, excuse me, not 10:55, 10:40 a.m. this morning, on the blue line to the right, we had at least 2.8 to 3.3 magnitude earthquakes. And prior to that, on the red line above it, look at that earthquake. That, folks, is a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake. This, folks, is at 10:11 a.m. this morning. 11 minutes after 10 this morning with that red earthquake. It only lasted a couple seconds. Then there was another primary wave after that that was lesser. But you can see what I'm saying here. These kind of earthquakes continued, but after 10:30 this morning, look at how long these earthquakes lasted. On the 10:30 line, that each line here is 15 minutes long. On the 10:30 line, there's 15-minute earthquakes. 15 minutes worth of earthquakes. Then they continued again on the 10:45 line. The green line out here, and this lasted here another 10 minutes. Now we're out to 11:55 this morning. Then it calms down. Then it goes down to a body wave, and it's still slightly shaking. Then, about 3 minutes before 11 o'clock, 10:57 a.m., the seismic activity kicks up again. It starts with minor tremors, and then just 1 minute before 11 a.m., 10:59 a.m., it continues. Then, folks, we have nearly 50 seconds worth of decent-sized earthquakes. By decent size, I'm saying reportable earthquakes. Every one of these earthquakes here are reportable, and yet they're not. They're not mentioned at all on the USGS map. This seismic energy is reportable. Okay? Now, let me tell you what I've done. This afternoon when I saw this, when I first saw this earthquake having been at Marktree, Arkansas, I called Marktree, Arkansas. I called the city. I talked to someone at City Hall. I'm not even going to mention names. She told me her name. I'm not going to mention it. I talked to somebody at City Hall. She told me that she had not felt anything. That's not surprising, okay? If this was just 3.0 earthquakes up to even 3.5, she might not have felt it, but someone else probably did. Somebody else probably did. But USGS is not reporting these earthquakes. They're not reporting these earthquakes. Now I have to ask everybody here, why not? Why are they not reporting these earthquakes? They don't want to get everybody shook up. Pardon the pun. I don't think it's a pun. It's reality. They don't want anybody to really know what is going on. Just like we've seen up in the Pacific Northwest when we talked about earthquakes there. Just like we see in California when we talked about good-sized earthquakes in California happening. We can show you the data from the seismographs. We're showing you here at Marktree. Okay? It happened. It's proven. It's fact. Why is it not on the maps? Because they don't want anybody to know about it. Okay? Let's continue this. I want to show you what's going on here. Okay? Let's go to Marktree, Arkansas this afternoon. Look at this, guys. I pulled this seismogram at about, yeah, it was about 3:30 this afternoon. About 3:30 this afternoon, because it doesn't show anything after 3:29 this afternoon. So it's just about 3:30 that I pulled this seismogram. Look what's happened here. Okay, we've had earthquakes at 12:15 up here on this red line here. This red line at the top is 12:15. The black line up above it is 12 noon on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side on the left, it's 12:15 going forward for 15 full minutes. Okay, that would take it out to 12:29 p.m. Right here in the middle of it, you see at least a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. It dissipates and starts up again. Dissipates and starts up again. Okay? That happened at about 3:22 p.m. this afternoon. What happened later? On the blue line after 1:30. Okay? The blue line here on the left-hand side is 1:30. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes later. We have another at least 3.0 earthquake. Part of the color here, we can't find out how long that earthquake lasted at the bottom of that quake. It's covered up from color from the from the earthquakes that happened after that. So we can't tell exactly how strong that quake was. The top of it looks like it's cut off as well. This was probably well beyond a 3.0 earthquake, probably upwards of 3.4, 3.5. Then, folks, we come down to 1400 hours on the left-hand side. That's 2 p.m. on the left-hand side. Look what happened here. Okay? Before 2 o'clock on the black line here on the left. Okay? We can't see what happened on the green line on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side on the green line would be 1:45 p.m. Far over here at the end of it would be 1:58 p.m., 1:59 p.m. It appears that we see a tiny bit of green here at 1:59 p.m. Okay, so this earthquake probably started about 1:58, 1:59. I'm talking tremors. Then it's full-blown Kate bar the door at 2 p.m. You can see what I'm talking about here. Again, the top and the bottom of this black earthquake has been cut off. Okay? Again, this is probably a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake at least. That earthquake lasted for 2 minutes. 2-minute long earthquake. And on the right-hand side, it diminishes over a little over a minute, probably a minute and 10 seconds. That's a secondary wave. But look out to the right of the secondary wave. That's the body wave. And then it continues and builds up again. It builds up again at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would be 2:05 this afternoon. Builds up into again some tremors and builds up into another earthquake. We can't tell how strong that was because it was covered up by the earthquake that would happen after 2:15. Okay, about 2:20 this afternoon. Okay, so we have another good sized earthquake there. Then we move along. About 2 minutes later, we have another 2.0 earthquake, followed immediately by at least a 2.8 to 2.9, maybe a 3.0 earthquake. And then after that, another one. Within about 30 seconds, another one there. Then we have a descending wave here, which is a secondary wave. Then we have 2 minutes of body wave, and it builds up again. This time, it was at 2:13 this afternoon. Okay? We have another buildup of tremors and then another earthquake just after 1:14 this afternoon. You can see it here. You can see how that builds up. Then the red line over on the left-hand side is 2:15. We can see it builds up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 minutes later. We have another 2.8, 2.9 earthquake, if not larger earthquake in the red there, right in the center. You can see the other seismic information here as well. Tremors and small quakes, minor earthquakes. Okay, I'm concerned about the new Madrid fault. We have not seen this kind of seismic event happen here at Mark Tree or anywhere else ever. I've been reporting on this for 3 years now. 3 years ago, we just had microquakes. Microquakes and very tiny tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.7 tremors. That's it. Occasionally got a 2.7, which is a minor earthquake. 2.0, 2.9 are called minor earthquakes. That's it. At the time, you guys were asking me about it. What's going on with it? Do you think we're going to have larger quakes? I said most assuredly we would have larger quakes, but I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen. Guess what? 2 years later, we have these larger earthquakes. They're not large 4.0 moderate quakes. They're not 5.0 large quakes. They're not 6.0 very strong quakes, but they're earthquakes nonetheless. The seismic ability of this area is huge. The seismic energy is building, guys. The seismic energy is building at this rate. We could have a new Madrid earthquake this year. If this continues like this, we could see a new Madrid earthquake this year. And I'm not just talking about the Mark Tree, Arkansas area. I'm not talking just about Mark Tree, Arkansas. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, guys. Now, with that said, let me show you what happened here. Okay? Look at this. Look at all these earthquakes here. That was this morning. I just got through showing you this afternoon. A big deal, most assuredly. What are we going to do about it? Let's go north. Let's take a look at Truman, Arkansas, north of Mark Tree. Okay? Let's see what happened today. This was this morning. Look what happened. We have microquake activity at midnight last night. The black line at the top is 12 a.m. this morning. 12 p.m. yesterday, 12 a.m. today. Actually, this could not be 12 p.m. This is 12 midnight. 12 a.m. this morning. We have nothing but microquake activity. Then at 12:15, which is the red line here, we start off with microquake activity, then it turns into tremor activity within 10 minutes. Then we start to see this earthquake develop here. Okay, this earthquake develops over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. It continues over on the blue line below that, 9, 10, 11, 12 minutes total. From the start to the end of it is 12 minutes. The major part of this earthquake lasted about 30 seconds, 1 minute, then it starts diminishing, and the secondary quake lasts 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. This was at least a 2.0 earthquake. Then it bobbled back and forth between earthquake to tremors. Okay? This is Truman, Arkansas, north of New Madrid. I mean, not north of New Madrid. This is north of Marktree. Look at the earthquakes that we have here. Now I'm specifically looking at 515 line here, the red line at 515 on the left hand side, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes later. Okay, 9 minutes later. Now we're talking about 5:24 a.m. this morning. All of a sudden we got a bunch of tremors, don't we? Those last about a minute and a half, maybe a little longer. Then we go into 2.0 earthquakes. Then immediately we go up a lot larger than that. The largest part of these earthquakes is topped off here, at the top and the bottom. We can't see the total length of these earthquakes in the bottom. This was at least a 3.0 earthquake. It wasn't just one, it was several of them. The seismic energy buildup from tremors to 2.0 and larger earthquakes, then it built up to a full-blown small earthquake, at least a 3.0, if not larger. Then it diminished to about a 2.9, 3.0, then less than that to about 2.7. Then it diminishes to tremors after that. Look at all the seismic activity here. This is Truman, Arkansas this morning. Let's look at Truman this afternoon. It almost completely goes away, doesn't it? Look at that. All we have here are tremors, nothing more than nothing less. This is north of Marktree. This is south of Jonesboro. Okay? Then we want to take a look at Tyronza, Arkansas. Tyronza, Arkansas this morning. This is south of Marktree. South of Marktree. Up at the top, we have again midnight last night, 12 a.m. this morning. We have a minor tremor after about 1:19 this morning. A minor tremor after about 1:19 this morning. Then we just see some minor tremor activity and it started out at about 1:43 this morning. And it continues out for another 10 minutes after that. Okay? It continues on the 1245 green line, and you can see how it continues out until it just becomes microquakes again. Then we don't have much at all going on until after 4 a.m. this morning. At 4 a.m. this morning, we have a 1.4 tremor. That black one there is a 1.4 tremor. Okay? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes after 4 a.m. this morning. 4:07 a.m. Then look what happens an hour later on this black line. It starts going crazy. And I believe it started going crazy at about 3:55 a.m. this morning. It looks to be on the green line. There was an earthquake that happened there, and again on the black line beneath it. And this seismic activity continues all morning long. This again is south of Martree. South of Martree. This is Tyronza, Arkansas. Let me show you Tyronza, Arkansas this afternoon. Look what happened here. Okay? This is over, guys. What we're talking about is over 100 miles distance from Truman on the north, then Martree and down to Tyronza, about 100 miles. Within 100 miles of those places, look at the activity we have. We have good sized activity up in Truman. Then in Martree, it really increases and goes over the edge. Then down here in Tyronza this afternoon, it continued, and it continued for a long time. It continued for a long time. On the black line at 1500 hours on the left-hand side, that's 3 p.m. We can see outlines of earthquakes that are happening. They probably started happening even after 2:45 this afternoon. We can't see that green line, but we can see the 3 p.m. black line, just barely here, because the red after that at 2 or 3:15 covered it. Look at all that activity. There's at least 40 minutes of solid 3.0 or larger activity. Okay? We can see it here. This is a big deal. Seismic activity over on the western side of the New Madrid is serious. We didn't see this 2 years ago. We did not see this a year ago. It was building up to this direction. Okay? It was building up. What I'm trying to tell you guys is this seismic energy is getting bigger. It's getting bigger. It's not decreasing at all. This is the biggest seismic energy we've seen here along the New Madrid Fault. Okay? I was blown away by what we are seeing here. I was completely blown away. Do you understand what we're seeing here? I would hope you are. This is huge. This is huge. Let me show you St. John's, Missouri. St. John's Bayou, Missouri. Okay? This, folks, is this morning. The top of it starts off at midnight. 12 midnight. All you see are microquakes, nothing more. Then it just barely starts building. Okay? This continues for a long time. At 4 a.m. it builds even more. Okay? At 4 a.m. we see some minor tremors building up, not just microquakes. Then it backs down some more, back to microquakes. That continues until about 6 a.m. this morning. Then we get started with some microquakes turning into tremors. Okay? That happens at 6:38 this morning. Actually, it's about 6:28 this morning. It goes from microquakes into tremors. 6:45, we have full-blown tremors. 1.1, 1.2 tremors. And you can see it building up. Okay? At 7:45, it builds up again. 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 tremors going into a 2.0 earthquake here, just after 7:47 this morning. We have microquakes before it, and we have tremors before it. Then after the 2.0, it comes back down to tremors and dissipates in about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Then it goes into a body wave after that. So it wasn't much of a quake. But look what happens late this morning, guys. This is where I dropped the ball here. This is where we have to start getting real serious about what we see going on. Look at this. Okay? I believe it starts at 10 o'clock this morning. It really gets going. We had some seismic activity at about 10:40 this morning. Actually 10:38, 10:39 this morning, and it continued. It calmed down for a time, and it continued. But again, at after 10:15, about 10:17 this morning, it went from tremors into full-blown earthquakes. Now I'm talking a 2.8, 2.9 magnitude earthquake. Those are minor earthquakes. 2.0, 2.9 minor earthquakes. It continued over on the right-hand side. Okay? This is 10:27 a.m. this morning. You can see the seismic energy building into 2.0 earthquakes. These earthquakes lasted about a minute, maybe a little longer. The bottom of it are covered by other color that happened after that. But you can see what I'm saying here. You can see the seismic energy build here. Over on the bottom red line here on the right, okay, this is at about 11:27 a.m. this morning. 11:27 a.m. this morning. Again, we have at least a 3.0, 3.2, maybe a 3.3 earthquake. Then it calms down again, goes into minor tremors very quickly. Then it builds up again, and we have another one. This time it lasts about 10 seconds. You can see the seismic signal there, the seismic energy. It lasted about 10 seconds. Then it dissipates again, and we have nothing but minor tremors after that. I think for a short time, a few seconds, it even went to microquakes and back into minor tremors again. Okay, this is what's going on. The seismic energy is not being reported by the agency. The only way you're going to find it is you go to the data, the seismograms. This is the only thing that we have to show for it. The seismograms themselves, coming from the machines, the seismographs. Okay, this is what is actually going on. This is St. John's Bayou, Missouri, the center of the New Madrid Fault. This is serious, guys. This is serious. Look at Guam, Missouri, the center of the New Madrid Fault here in Missouri. Look at these. These are not that big, but it shows you the seismic energy building and dissipating. Building and dissipating. The seismic signatures are clear. And some of these are actual earthquakes as well. Yes, we have tremors here. But over here on the red line, this is, let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, I want to say 3:25 this morning. It starts off with minor tremors, builds into decent sized tremors, and then all of a sudden we have at least a 2.0 earthquake. Then we have seismic energy in form of tremors after that. And they last about 45, 50 seconds. Then it dissipates into a secondary wave of tremors. And then a body wave, and that dissipates within about 45, well, no, this could be longer, about a minute and 10 seconds, something like minute, 15 seconds as a body wave. But you can see these other tremors here. This is very effective. This is a very effective way of looking at it. It doesn't stop. This is Guam, Missouri, the center of the fault. Now, I don't want to stop here. I want to go up to Indiana. Okay? I want to show you what's going on up in Indiana. This is the north side of the New Madrid Fault. Okay? Folks, this is New Harmony, Indiana. The New Madrid Fault goes all the way up to the Great Lakes. It also goes over towards the east in Ohio, Pennsylvania area, western Pennsylvania. But looking at this, guys, look what we have here. Okay, this is this afternoon. The top line here is 12 noon on the left-hand side. You can see the seismic energy here. There's nothing more than tremors here. There's no earthquakes at all. These are all tremors. But look what is going on. Those tremors are long-lasting. They don't stop. They do not stop. Nobody felt these. This is seismic energy that is not stopping here. It's continuing. At one point, after 2 p.m. on this black line, and I believe the green line above it is also fairly thick, meaning the tremors really went on for almost, 30 seconds? Each line here is 15 seconds. That would be 30 seconds of tremors. That's an awful long time to have these kind of larger tremors. And I'm talking 1.3, 1.4 tremors. Okay? It's a big deal. Is anybody listening? It's nice to talk, guys. Yes, I have a chat here to talk. But is anybody really paying attention to what I'm saying, or am I speaking to the ground? This is important, guys. Dennis and Carol say yes. I appreciate that. This is serious, guys. The New Madrid Fault is moving, and it's moving in a great big way. It's moving in a great big way. Richard Smith is saying there's a 3.1 earthquake off the coast of North Island, New Zealand. That's not, it's nothing new. They have 2.5s to 3.1s, 3.2, 3.5 earthquakes on the North Island. I'm concerned what's going on the North Island when we have earthquakes at what? There's a major volcano there. It's a super volcano. Topo volcano. T-A-O-U-P-A. Or P-O, I'm sorry. T-A-U-O-P-O volcano. Topo volcano. When I see earthquakes around Topo volcano, I cringe. There's seismic activity hitting that volcano every day. We've had upwards of a 5.0 earthquake at Topo volcano, and it did not erupt. That was about a month and a half ago. I think it was actually a 5.1 earthquake there at a super volcano. What did I show you last night at Long Valley over at East Central California, east of Mammoth? I showed you 3.0 activity there. That's also super volcano. I've shown you guys over the years here that I've been here, I've shown you magma recharging of the volcanoes. Magma is recharging all of the volcanoes. Richard Smith talked also about a 4.9 south of Kermadec Islands. Anytime you see a 0.9 anything, it's a larger earthquake. That's probably a 5.1, 5.2 earthquake. They call it a 4.9 because they do not want anyone to know what is going on, not even in the Kermadec Islands. They don't want historians to see that. Some historian comes by 5 or 10 years, 20 years from now, oh, what happened here? Well, this is only a 4.9, no big deal, a moderate earthquake. But what they don't know is the seismic energy was actually larger than that. It was a large earthquake. A large earthquake that USGS had no business of downgrading. Okay? I can tell you that right now. It's BS. It's BS. Everybody here ought to be aware of what's going on the New Madrid. Okay? It is being squeezed between the East Coast and the West Coast. That's why this seismic network here, the New Madrid system here, is getting these earthquakes here. The seismic information is increasing because it's getting squeezed. The Atlantic plate on the east is expanding and it's pushing the North American plate west. West-southwest. You ought to see what I saw the earthquakes along the East Coast today. Why are we getting earthquakes on the East Coast? Because the entire Atlantic plate is expanding from the middle outward, putting pressure on the East Coast. That pressure transfers over to the New Madrid fault. And you can see the earthquakes here. That's what actually is going on. I've shown it to you. You've seen it tonight. It's all over. It literally is all over. Let me show you something else, guys, if you hadn't already known. Over in Wardell, W-A-R-D-E-L-L, Wardell, Missouri. This, folks, is the afternoon, evening of yesterday. Look what happened in Wardell, Missouri. This is the center of the New Madrid fault. I showed you all the other earthquakes in Arkansas. I've shown you earthquakes in Missouri. This is Wardell, Missouri, in southern Missouri. The center of the New Madrid fault. Look what we're showing you here. If you're not bothered by this, maybe we ought to quit broadcasting. This is major earthquake going on here. No, this is not 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. This is major seismic energy. Seismic energy in a big way. Lamazalai says, oh, that's graphic. You're absolutely right. It's ongoing. It does not stop. At one point on this seismogram, there was no white here at all. There was no paper. It's all covered in color. That means the seismic energy did not stop. The seismic energy did not stop. You see the black line at the top. Folks, this was 12 noon yesterday. 12 noon yesterday up at the top black line. Look what we're showing you. It went crazy, guys. This was yesterday. Let me show you Wardell yesterday morning. Let me show you Wardell yesterday morning. Look at this. If this is not telling, I don't know what is. Look at the top of this seismogram here. This is midnight yesterday morning. Almost nothing going on. This is microquakes. These are microquakes, and they went on until 8 a.m. yesterday morning. Then all of a sudden, the New Madrid fault erupts here. All of a sudden, the New Madrid fault goes bananas. This has started happening yesterday morning, just after 8 a.m. in the morning. And it kept going all morning and all afternoon and all night. Okay? This is what happened yesterday. Shall we take a look at what happened today in Wardell? Folks, this is Wardell, Missouri this morning. Look at this. After being active literally all night last night, it continued the same way until after 1 o'clock this morning. Then, between 1 a.m. this morning and 5 a.m. this morning, it calmed down some. Yes, there were some episodes of larger activity, meaning probably close to 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 is considered to be small. 2.0, 2.9 are minor earthquakes. Okay? So what we see here is a bunch of tremors. Then occasionally we even see some larger earthquakes. 2.0, 3.0 earthquakes. Then after 6 a.m. this morning, look what happens all over again. This is not just tremor activity. This is full-blown earthquakes. It started yesterday and it continued. It continued. This is the center of the New Madrid fault in Missouri. This is this afternoon before I pulled the seismogram. It continued all afternoon. All afternoon, guys, and it's continuing now. It has not stopped. Chris Miller says, wow, those are long or lasting long periods of time too. Yes, they are. This seismic activity has now gone on for 36 plus hours. This is approaching 2 full days. I will show you tomorrow what happened here and see if it's still continuing tonight into tomorrow and long after that. Okay? This is concerning. Again, this is the center of the New Madrid fault. Can I make it any clearer for everybody? We're having tremors and 2.0 to 3.5 earthquakes in the very least, possibly as large as 4.0. This should be very concerning to everybody. They should be issuing an earthquake alert along the New Madrid fault. I've shown you the data, guys. The seismic events are increasing. Michelle Davis says that's very scary looking. It is. The data is proving that this is increasing bilaterally all over the place. It's not stopping. It's not stopping. So far, I've shown you Arkansas and I've shown you Missouri. This is the center part of the New Madrid Fault. I've shown you the New Madrid Fault up into and including Indiana. Indiana. New Harmony, Indiana. It's also continuing somewhat up in Illinois. Tremors up in Illinois on the north part of the New Madrid. When the New Madrid Fault finally goes off, those tremors up in Illinois and Indiana are going to be full-blown 5.0 earthquakes to the north. To the east, we're going to see probably 5.0 earthquakes on the east coast, because this seismic energy is moving east. Okay? It's going to ring church bells here in North Carolina and Virginia and Washington and New York. This is going to be a big deal. Do you realize now how serious this is? In 2 years' time, it's gone from just minor microquakes and tremors to full-blown earthquakes in 2 years. These are reportable earthquakes, and the public has a right to know. The public should know about this. That's why we're putting it out. I've shown you Arkansas, I've shown you Missouri, I've shown you tremor activity up to the north in Indiana. It's all over. It's all over. I could show you lesser activity over in Guam, Missouri. Okay? East Prairie, Missouri. Minor tremors and minor earthquakes. I showed you St. John's Bayou, Missouri there. Before I showed you the major stuff happening. Everyone needs to see this. Let me show you Barker Cemetery. This is west of where all these other earthquakes are happening. Okay? This, folks, was Barker Cemetery this morning. We had almost no activity whatsoever except for some microquake activity early this morning after midnight. Then it kind of dies down until after 8 a.m. Starting at 8 a.m., we had 1.8, 1.9 tremors until we got down to 7:27 this morning. Over here on the right-hand side, we have a 2.0 earthquake in the blue there. Then on the green line beneath that, okay, this was 7:40, actually 7:50. Let me look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost 7:49 this morning. Okay? Guess what? That is a 2.2 earthquake. After that, a minute and a half later, is another tremor. But you see these tremors and earthquakes building. Look what happened after 11 a.m. this morning. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes after 11. 11:05 this morning, almost 11:06. We have a real good sized earthquake here. This is not a 2.8, 2.9. This is at least a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake here at Barker Cemetery. This is on the west side in Missouri. Barker Cemetery. This is typical of what we would normally see at Barker Cemetery. Typical. Very typical. This afternoon, there wasn't much to see. But this morning, we had those tremors. I wanted you to see that. This afternoon, it was just this. just this information here. Yes, at least a 2.5, 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. At least. Over here on the right hand side, on the left is 12 noon on the left. Over here we have 12:11 a.m. this morning. I mean this afternoon. 12:11 p.m. this afternoon. 2.5 earthquake. Another one about 12:38 this afternoon. And then a 2.0 after that, within about 40 seconds after that. Then we come down to 2:15 on the left-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes later. Okay, 2:19 this afternoon, we have another 2.9 magnitude earthquake. This is Barker Cemetery. We never had anything more than tremors here at Barker Cemetery. This is a complete increase in seismic energy at Barker Cemetery. Do you know why I'm concerned? Do you see why I'm talking about this tonight? I was going to talk about Southern California. Southern California is building, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. This is big time. This is big time. Over to the east. Let's go over to Tennessee. This is Ridgely, Tennessee. Ridgely, Tennessee. There's a federal penitentiary there. That's where this seismograph is located, at the penitentiary. Look what we see here. These are tremors on the east side of the New Madrid. About 300 miles east of the New Madrid. The seismic energy is moving, guys. If we can get these kind of tremors on the east side already, can you imagine what's going to happen when this earthquake blows up? When the New Madrid blows up, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I've shown you a lot of information here tonight. I need everybody to pass this on. Everybody needs to see this, guys. This is very critical. This is critical. I've shown you major expansion on the New Madrid fault. Major expansion on the New Madrid fault. A warning should go out. I'm not going to give it but 6 months before we get a very major earthquake. And I'm talking at least a 7.0 earthquake. They should be putting out warnings now. They should be putting out warnings now. There is no way in heck that the people should not know what's going on. I got this from the University of Memphis in Tennessee. This information is public. It's available. University of Memphis is not sharing it. They're not making mention of what's going on. USGS is not making mention of it. Somebody's got to put out the word. Linda Covington says, earthquakes and hotspots. Lava. Yes, there is. I don't have time to go into hotspots tonight. It's already past 9:30 p.m. Maybe tomorrow or the next day I can talk about hotspots all over the U.S. and maybe all over the world. Hotspots are commonly caused by magma very close to the surface. That's what typically is causing the hotspots. We've talked about other reasons in the past, but I don't think they hold water right now. but magma very close to the surface can cause these. And yes, there's some of that happening around the New Madrid Fault. There's a lot of it happening out west. A lot. California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho and Utah, Wyoming, Montana, even down in Nebraska, Kansas, down into Oklahoma, and Texas, and further south and east. Hot spots everywhere. Guys, I'm going to let it go for now. But please, guys, I want you to share this information. This is critical for everybody's safety. I will monitor this in the morning. If I see this increasing by morning, I will come on the air by no later than 12 noon. That's how critical this is. Everybody needs to see this. Wolfman says they have signs all over the airport informing you of the New Madrid Fault line. I hope so. I hope at least it may be getting some attention. People need to be looking into this. The University of Memphis should be showing this. The papers, the news media needs to see this. The news media needs to see this. Texas lady in the chat says there are several hot spots in Missouri in a few days ago. We watched a live stream truck driver going through smoke. They were a few miles apart. Going through smoke, guys. What could cause that but magma beneath the surface that is igniting the weeds and dry stuff coming from the freeze during the winter as it's thawing out? Okay, that's what's going on. It's happening everywhere. I now have made it out here. I want everybody to know about it. Please, folks, do your best to share this everywhere. Everybody needs to know this. It's getting critical. I've shown you some good-sized earthquakes tonight. It's critical that this information gets out to the public. I passed it on to the mayor of Marktree, Arkansas. Marktree, Arkansas is a small town of 2,500 people. I passed it on to the mayor. The person I talked to there at City Hall did not feel anything. But that may be typical for these earthquakes. But all I'm saying is the seismic energy is building up. She said she would pass on the information to the mayor when he comes in the morning. He has my telephone number now. I'm hoping we're going to get some attention here. This is critical. She said she was going to look at my program tonight, which I hope she does. And I hope the mayor sees it in the morning. This is critical to get out this word. The New Madrid Fault is moving in a big way. And it's got to get out, and it's got to get out now. Dennis N. says there's caves in North St. Louis County, and they're filled them with natural gas for storage. That's not a thing to do. Fill caves with natural gas. Why are they storing it in caves? They should be putting it in tanks to use, not to blow up in the middle of the country. Yes, all it would take is a spark. Not even a human. All it could take is a spark from two rocks rubbing together. That's all it would take. And boom, it's done. Not a good thing. Wolfman says Budweiser beer was using those caverns in St. Louis too. Really? Well, guess what? They may have to store their Budweiser for a very long time. They lost over $6 billion. $6 billion with a B. $6 billion over the past 6 months. Why? Now, I'm not transphobic. I don't give a darn about any trans people, period. Yes, I have some friends who are trans. They don't rub it in my face. But if they did, I would be dissing them. I don't care what they do as long as it doesn't affect me and my family. As long as they don't parade themselves in front of my grandchildren, my young elementary school grandchildren. If they did that, they would see my bright face with an ugly frown on it, and they better start running. That's what I think of that. All of those people that are now doing those commercials, they should be slapped upside the head. Budweiser should close down. Someone said boycott Budweiser. Oh yes, they're already doing that. You can spread that word too. I don't want our grandchildren. I don't think those buttheads should be parading themselves around in negligee in front of young children. That is morally reprehensible. Period. Lamazalai says, my elementary is teaching the young kids how to do different gender and telling them to not tell their parents. If I found that out, I'd be marching into that damn school and I would blow the lid off of it. I wouldn't blow it up, but I would make sure those administrators knew how angry I was. I would notify the media. I would have newspapers and media out there meeting to let them know what our elementary schools are doing. It's morally reprehensible. I don't give a crap what they say. And I do the same here, but this is redneck country. We don't have those kind of problems here where I live. But I would march into those schools right now and give them a piece of my mind. They better never do that here. I don't care what they do in their own lives. Leave us the hell alone. Period. Now, I spouted out quite enough about seismic energy and earthquakes. I'm going to leave you now with a scripture. I do this every night now. I started a couple years ago. I want to leave you with a scripture. Leave you with something positive. Something positive. Okay? Now, this is in 1 Corinthians. This is the Apostle Paul speaking. Okay? Note how Apostle Paul approached almost any subject. He was a very strong individual. Could be as strong as I am, or any of the other apostles, or the prophets. But the Apostle Paul made his work known, what he was saying. Over in chapter 4 of 1 Corinthians, in verse 10, he says, ye are wise in Christ. We are weak, but ye are strong. Ye are honorable, but we are despised. Why was he being despised? Because he was sharing the word of Jesus Christ. He was sharing the commandments. He was sharing what God wanted him to tell the people. In verse 14, he continues, I write not these things to shame you, but as my beloved, some I warn you. Some I warn you. Okay? The Apostle Paul was being very strong in saying, I warn you. I warn you. Now, why did he say that? Because just as the people today, the people were getting out of hand. They were stepping out of line. The Apostle Paul was calling them to repentance. He was warning the people, just like I'm warning everybody now. Please, folks, know what is going on around you. Don't let it go. If something bad is happening, step into it. We right now need positive people. We need to have strong people that are willing to step up and let the truth be known. We don't want anybody weak. We don't want anybody that can't handle the truth. We need strong people out in the public. We need them declaring the words of God. We need them telling everybody what is going on. That's where I come in. I have a bully pulpit here, and I'm exercising it. I am asking you to all help me do this. I cannot do this without you. I need your help to spread this word. Now, folks, this has gone long, okay? But I want to make sure we got out what we needed to. I could have shown you a lot more seismic energy all over the eastern part of the country. It's happening. Like I said, the Atlantic plate is expanding, pushing the North American continent south-southwest. Just be known that it is going on. Large earthquakes are coming. People are going to be hurt, maybe killed. The land is going to change in a huge way. It's opening up. We've seen it in other countries and other parts of the world. It's happening here now. Folks, I love you. I care about you. I care about your families. I care about your friends, your neighbors, and all your loved ones. Please, folks, share what I've shared with you tonight. It's worth it. In closing, please, folks, check your subscriptions. Make sure you subscribe to this program. If you're not, either subscribe or resubscribe, and then click on the bell icon, that little bell icon, and then click on the word ALL. Make sure you subscribe and you get notified when we come on the air. Folks, we will be back on the air for sure tomorrow evening. If something major happens, I will be back on the air to tell you about it no later than 12 noon tomorrow afternoon. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. Have a good one. Learn the scriptures. Like I said the other day, in them you will find eternal life. Eternal life is the greatest of all gifts of God, and that's what we should be searching for. Take it easy, folks. We will see you tomorrow, if not sooner. Take care. Bye. See you around the corner.